What is going on, all of you Nintendo fans out there in the world? I'm Mega Amster. Thank you for watching this YouTube video, whether you are a new or returning viewer. I appreciate you stopping by, and just a few hours ago as of this upload, Nintendo announced that there is going to be a big Nintendo Direct, a roughly 60-minute and roughly an hour-long Nintendo Direct happening this coming Friday, September 12th, 2025 at 6 a.m. Pacific, 9 a.m. Eastern, and you bet I'm going to try to be there to do a big live reaction to that presentation. But ahead of that, usually I do like a quick little live stream going over my predictions for the Nintendo Direct, but unfortunately I just don't have time to do a live stream before that, so I figured I would pre-record a video talking about my predictions, and then all of you can let me know in the comments below what you think before the Direct happens in just a couple days after this upload. So let's talk about the big elephant in the room, right? This is the big September Direct that Nintendo has almost every September every year, almost. I feel like there's been a couple of exceptions, especially like 2020 with the pandemic year, but we're getting it again, and so the question becomes, what games do you show off here? Like, what big games do you have left for the rest of the current year into the next year? Because I do think we will see 2026 games here. I do not believe they specifically said only 2025. And even when they've done that, they've lied before. Elephant in the room that everybody's thinking of is Metroid Prime 4. What is going on with this game, right? This game was playable at Fan Expo in Canada. It was playable at Gamescom. Before that, we hadn't heard anything since the Switch 2 presentation back in April of this year. So, what's going on with this game? Is it... personally, I was on the camp that this game could get delayed to 2026, and I do think that is still possible. However, I've kind of taken another step back and reevaluated my thoughts here, because literally today, as of this upload, we found out this game has been rated by multiple different ratings boards. And usually when you find that out, usually that means the game is coming out within the next few months or so. So I honestly do think this game will make 2025, but I think it is going to be later this year. So my prediction for Metroid Prime 4, I have a whole bingo sheet, so we'll go through all of these. I'm going to highlight specific key ones. My prediction for Prime 4 is that it's going to launch on December 5th. I think this is going to be an early December game. Sorry, I'm a little stuffy. If you couldn't tell, I had a cold previously, so I'm trying to get over it. But kind of like Indiana Jones last year. Not that was a Nintendo game, but similar time frame where it's like right before the Game Awards, so probably won't get a lot of recognition, if any, at the Game Awards. But I do think I feel like this is going to be an early December game. I honestly don't see this game releasing any earlier. I know some people think I've seen articles saying, oh, it could be a shadow drop. I'm sorry. I do not think there's a shot of that. But I think they're trying to give Retro as much time as possible. And I think the way to do that is to really, dedicate itself to have its own time, make sure it has as much polish as possible while still coming out this year. I think early December. I don't think you want to do late December. Early December is probably the latest in 2025 you could theoretically go without pushing it to next year. I think it's either early December or I think it's not coming out this year. That's kind of my stance right now. So I'm going to say early December just for Metroid fans like myself to have this game finally release in the calendar year of 2025. But otherwise, I'm looking at some smaller Nintendo announcements. I have plenty. There's that Splatoon Raiders game. I shouldn't say smaller announcement. Ones that I'm not going to focus on here. Splatoon Raiders, I feel like we don't know a ton about. I said that's going to come out on September 28th. That's my prediction. I think that game is imminent. We don't know a lot about it, but it seems like it's like a spin-off single-player focused game, which could be cool because I do love Splatoon for the single player. It's not really one that's on my radar currently. Maybe they could convince me to get into it, but it's cool that they're making it. I'm curious to see when it releases, but I think that could totally come out like end of this month. I think that would be a good time for it. Splatoon 3 released in September a few years ago. Not that Splatoon is held by any sort of release timing of the year, but it's usually been like early summer to late summer, so maybe, but we'll see. I also added, if they want to keep, I know Donkey Kong Bonanza just came out, if they want to keep that momentum of Donkey Kong going, add some characters into Mario Kart World. I imagine we're going to have the DLC, add Diddy and Dixie into Mario Kart World. There's one character who's super obvious who, in case you're avoiding Bonanza spoilers, I'm not going to say it. It's a character you meet very early on, to be fair, in the promotional material, but that one is a no-brainer. I just wanted to make it a little more interesting for predictions here. So Diddy and Dixie, throw them in there. They're both in Mario Kart Tour. I mean, hell, Diddy was in Mario Kart 8 after the DLC, so throw them in there. Add more content to Mario Kart World. I feel like we will see something of that game here. And add DK64 and NSO. We had that leak previously with that game, Smash 64, and I think it was another game, I forget. Add DK64. Oh, banana. Keep it going. Keep it going. Otherwise, let's see. Fire Emblem, it feels like it's about time. You know, it's been a while since we had a Fire Emblem announcement. I know there's the Genealogy, the Holy War remake. That's my prediction. And once again, early 2026, I said. We'll see about that. But something Fire Emblem you think would be coming soon. I'll be curious to see what it looks like on Switch 2. I mean, if they're debuting it on Switch 2, maybe they don't want a remake, but we'll see. For Legends ZA, I know Pokemon tends to do their own thing, but I'm like, why not throw it in here? Might as well. I just put a new Zygarde form. I don't know. I don't want to predict a Mega Evolution, man. That's so specific, and we just got a couple. They might have a little showcase of Legends ZA just to have it there, because it's coming out in a month after the Direct, right? So best to like remind people, hey, this game's coming out next month. So I'm going to predict a new Zygarde form there. Kirby Air Riders, Sakurai did say he wanted to share more information. He doesn't have to do it here, but I feel like we'll see a little thing. Maybe they show a clip of my prediction, which is a Woofy being playable in Kirby Air Riders. If you don't know a Woofy is the dog enemy, quote-unquote enemy. A Woofy's a good boy in Kirby and Forgotten Lands, which just had the Switch 2 edition drop. Good timing for that, just saying. Make it playable, please. Please, Nintendo. What else we got? Oh, so Hyrule Warriors coming out. Okay, they said winter. Winter. That does not mean 2025. So my prediction is that game's coming out in January 2026. I think it's early 2026, and I'm going to specifically call out January because I think in February is when Rhythm Heaven's going to come out, and that game was previously announced for the Switch 1, but they did confirm this is going to be Switch 1 and Switch 2. This is not a Switch 2 exclusive Direct. Something to keep in mind. I'm calling out that game will come out early next year as well in February. And also Copium, Star Fox, open world, open space, whatever you want to call it. Bring back Star Fox, man, it's time. But there's a couple more things for Nintendo I want to consider. And one of those things is the fact that why is this Direct 60 minutes long? We've never had a Direct this long, except for, I think the Switch 2 presentation came close, and maybe even that much, right? But that was... You have to factor in console hardware reveals and details that took up a lot of that time. Here, in theory, we shouldn't be getting that, right? This should just be focused on games for Switch 1 and 2. So if it's this beefy, what is making it at least 15 minutes longer than usual Directs, right? Usually they're 40 to 45 minutes. This is, they said, roughly 60 minutes. What is making it this much longer? And in my mind, that's Mario's 40th anniversary. I think there's going to be a whole section probably at the end of this Direct, focused on at least a few Mario-related announcements for the 40th anniversary. And no, I'm going to crush your hopes and dreams, we're not seeing 3D Mario. Maybe a 1% chance of a tease of the next 3D Mario, but I don't think we're seeing anything about that. What I do think we're seeing, and I'm doubling down on this from my video last month, is Mario Maker 3. Perfect anniversary game. I mean, they released the original game for the 30th. Added in... You know, have that release in November of this year. That's my prediction. Mario Maker 3. If you want to go pie in the sky dream, like I said in that video, make it a 3D Mario Maker, that'd be awesome. Don't think that'll happen. But, you know, even just add Mario Wonder as a theme, add some new features, but, like, having that with mouse controls on Switch 2 is a no-brainer. I know they had Mario Paint, but they could totally do Mario Maker 3 on Switch 2. I think Mario Maker 2 sold well. I know the reputation isn't as good as the first one, but, like... perfect anniversary game. I really do think they should do this. I hope they will. And I'm predicting it's going to come out in November this year. That's my prediction there. I wrote down a few Mario announcements. Mario Baseball. Been a while since we've seen that series. They want to celebrate with a new sports game, like a smaller game from, who's that, Next Level? I don't know what they're working on right now, but throw that out there. I didn't put Luigi's Mansion 4 on here, but that is also very possible. Who knows? You know, that's definitely a possibility. I don't know. I guess we just had Luigi's Mansion 2 last year, but that was a different studio. That was the one who did Skyward Sword HD, I believe. Was that 2023? Wait, when was... No, I don't remember. Anyways, maybe Luigi's Mansion 4. It's not out of the possibility, but I did not write that down here. Where's my other... Oh, okay. I've seen the idea tossed around, and I could totally see it being likely as well. I talked about it in that Mario 40th Anniversary predictions video about 3D All-Stars coming back in a Switch 2 edition, because... You know, so far we only have, what? Legend of Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, Kirby Forgotten Land, and Mario Party Jamboree? Those are the 4 Switch 2 editions that we know of right now. I feel like they are going to do more, right? Why would you have a whole separate branding for Switch 2 edition and not have more games? So I could totally see 3D All-Stars coming back, maybe again for a limited time, who knows, but this time add Galaxy 2, because there's no reason Galaxy 2 shouldn't have been there in the first place. Add in Mario Galaxy 2, make it playable with the other 3 games, If you want to add like 3D Land or any other games too, sure, go for it. But like, make Mario Galaxy 2 playable on Switch 2. There's no reason it shouldn't be. And unfortunately, that would be annoying if it was exclusive to Switch 2. But maybe it won't be. You know, maybe they'll have it as a separate digital purchase on Switch 1. Right? There's no reason the game couldn't run on Switch 1. Maybe they'll just have it on Switch 2 all in one package with the rest of 3D All-Stars. Could be an idea. One more Mario prediction, and that is the idea of Mario Movie 2. That movie is coming out in early, or I think it's like in March 2026. I want to say they confirmed the release date for that. Definitely correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below. 4 years ago, the September Direct of 2021 is when we had that crazy fever dream cast reveal for the movie. You know, that was in a Nintendo Direct. That was at the end of a Nintendo Direct back then. Or it was right before the end. That might have been right before the Bayonetta 3 reveal. Anyways, you know, that was in a Nintendo Direct. And normally I would say don't expect it, but if they're going to do a Mario 40th anniversary combination here, which I feel like that's why this is going to be about 60 minutes long, have a Mario Movie 3 tease. Oh, sorry, 3. Bro, we haven't got to 2. Sorry, 2. And my prediction, we know, of course, Yoshi is going to be in the movie. I hate to put this out there, but Tom Holland voicing Yoshi in Mario Movie 2. That's my prediction. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I had to do it. He has that like naive young voice for Yoshi that seems pretty perfect. Sorry to do this to everybody. We'll see. But that's my final Mario prediction. Otherwise, there is one more Nintendo game prediction I want to talk about here. Most of these are, there's only a few third-party and indie predictions I have because I couldn't think of many, but this one's a big one. This would be a big game for Nintendo in 2026, and like I said, Nintendo will almost certainly have at least a couple 2026 games in this presentation. And this one, if they have a tease for it, like at the end of the Direct, this could be a great announcement for them, and honestly a way to increase their user base for the Switch 2. And that, don't want to get too much copium in, all of you fans, that's a new Animal Crossing. I think a new Animal Crossing is coming soon. I think Nintendo is prioritizing the series. My only prediction for this is that they're going to have a tease for the next Animal Crossing coming out in 2026, maybe like summer or something. I think they are trying to prioritize this game. You know, we didn't have a ton of post-launch content for Animal Crossing New Horizons for like a year or two after. I'm sure they've been hard at work on the next one because this game is one of their most successful on the Switch 1, and it probably will do maybe not as well on Switch 2 because of not releasing during a global pandemic. Nintendo don't engineer a pandemic. You know, I think it'll still sell well, and this is a way you can get a more casual audience on board with the Switch 2. I think this is the game to do it and to get more people talking about it. This to me is a no-brainer. I also just want to will this into existence for the Animal Crossing fans. You know, this would be a great announcement to end on and get people excited for Switch 2 in 2026. This is the one to do it, you know, and I think we just get a little bit of a tease. Like, this is why I think we see this and not 3D Mario yet. I think we see this before 3D Mario. So that's kind of my thinking there, but we'll see. I don't know what the concept will be. I joked last time that it would be an outer space theme. It would be Animal Crossing New Planets or New Worlds. I don't think that's going to happen, but, like, at the very least, like, you know, I'll put it out there in case it does. But I do think this will be teased for 2026. I think this will be a big game for them in 2026 and really increase the user base of the Switch 2 to much more of a casual audience besides the hardcore Nintendo audience that is on board right now. But yeah, that, I believe that should be all of the Nintendo specific announcements here. I just have a few third-party and indie ones here that we can jump into. A big third-party one that I've been thinking about that I don't think has been confirmed, maybe talked about by the team, but a big one that I want to highlight here is Final Fantasy XIV. Because this was not on Switch 1 as far as I'm aware. Definitely correct me if I'm wrong about that in the comments. This might be a Switch 2 exclusive if it wasn't. I feel like Final Fantasy XIV would be huge on Switch 2. It's a great platform for it. Yoshi P probably and the team probably wants to put it on Switch 2. Why not increase the player base of that? Like, I played like a demo of this years ago when it first came out, but I haven't played it any more since. Having this, I don't want to say endless game, but a huge game like this on Switch 2 would be, honestly, I think a great investment for the team. And they're trying to expand, you know, to Xbox, of course, and they're trying to get games like Final Fantasy VII Remake, and I believe now, I'm sure Rebirth, I don't know if it's been confirmed, probably not. Actually, no, I think it has, but we don't know when it would come on a Switch 2 as well. They're trying to bring a lot of their games over to Switch 2, especially the more prolific ones. And this one, I think, is a no-brainer. If they can get it running on Switch 2, I know the network on Switch 2 could be a little iffy, but I think this is the one to do it. You know, we will see, but I think this would be a smart move for Square Enix and honestly Nintendo. Increase that player base, get that you know, that audience on Switch 2 in a perfect compact form like that. If you don't want to play on your PC with a keyboard and mouse, you want to play it on a console. I mean, you have the PlayStation, and I think it's on Xbox, maybe? Who knows? They definitely want to get on Xbox. Other third-party predictions I have, Witcher 4 on Switch 2. I know the game isn't out yet, but like having a little trailer, say it's coming out on Switch 2. Witcher 3 on Switch 1 was one of the best ports on that game, on that system. And, you know, CD Projekt Red is riding off the high of Cyberpunk on Switch 2 being one of the most successful third-party games thus far on Switch 2, and the fact that it's not a game key card. Go even more on that. Get more people in the Nintendo fan base hyped for your next upcoming game, being Witcher 4. Obviously, it's going to be a compromised version, but bring it at some point, whether at launch or a little bit after, to the Switch 2. I think they should prioritize that. I was trying to think of a Sonic Racing Crossworlds prediction. I just kind of mentioned that they'll announce the physical game will come out in March of 2026, because they did confirm there's going to be a full physical Switch 2 version, not a game key card, a full, true physical at some point on the Switch 2, but the Switch 2 version will not be at launch this month. So maybe they'll have some more details on that. But in terms of other characters or tracks, we'll probably see something. We'll probably see a trailer of some sort reminding you that it's coming out in a couple weeks and saying, ignore that Mario Kart World trailer you just saw. Buy our game. Otherwise, Project Crosszone 3, I always have to throw it out there. It's never going to happen, but I would love it. Especially on Switch would be awesome. Mega Man X9, same thing. Capcom, come on. Either, if you got to do Mega Man 12 just to bring Mega Man back into the gaming fray, like, do it. But, like, X9 is the dream. 12 would be great as well. A while ago, actually, last year, Toys for Bob had a post saying that they were working on a Spyro 4. Now, obviously, since then they left Microsoft, but they've been working on a game in collaboration with Microsoft, which you would think would be one of their IPs, which you would think would be a new Spyro, which I feel like is pretty likely, following suit with what they did with Crash 4 after Vicarious Visions had the Insane Trilogy. You know? Just throw it out there, man. I'm just saying. Spyro 4. New Spyro would be great. This one's interesting because every Direct we've been getting a new Like a Dragon game on Switch and Switch 2. However, one that I don't, because they've done what? They've done 0, Kiwami 1, and I think, didn't they just announce Kiwami 2 in the Partner Direct recently? So those I think are out the window. Now, they could go on to the next one chronologically. However, I honestly think they're going to bring Like a Dragon being Yakuza 7. I think they want to start getting Ichiban on the Switch. You know, they could do Infinite Wealth, they could do both. But for now, I think getting Like a Dragon, at least on Switch, maybe Switch 2 exclusive, would be a smart move for them. And then later you could bring the other Yakuza games. I mean, I'm not a Yakuza expert, so I don't know fully the lore, but like, I feel like having the first 2 Kiwamis and Zeros a pretty good intro to Kiryu, and then get Ichiban fans out there too, rather than have to wait through the entire saga. But I don't know, who knows? Who knows what they'll do? Couple more indie ones here before I end this video. One that I'm surprised isn't on Switch already, at least I don't think it is. Let me double check here. I just want to make sure, because I don't think, is Blueprints on Switch? No, it is not. It is on PlayStation 5, Windows, and Xbox Series X. So it's literally on everything but Switch, as far as I'm aware. So big indie hit from earlier this year. It would be a great... Yeah, it's launching on all major platforms except Nintendo Switch, so this would be a good time to bring it. Maybe they're trying to work out the versions and maybe put it on Switch too. Having that on Switch would be great. I played that game on Steam Deck and it was a great form factor for it. Some of the UI elements are a little small, but it works pretty well. You know, and I think you could totally work it for Switch 2 in particular. You know, even if it's got to be a Switch 2 exclusive, it'd be a great platform to have it on. One more indie prediction, though, that you guys probably see coming if you're thinking of indies in Switch 2. And I think this one could totally be the Shadow Drop. Hades 2, man. I'm excited for this. They said Hades 2 in the April Direct was launching on Switch 2 1.0. And I think they said soon? They might have said 2025. I don't know. But, like, imagine if this was just a Shadow Drop on Switch 2. The 1.0 launch on all other platforms as well, but it's on Switch 2 as well. I'm very excited for this game. I have not played Hades 1. I really want to check out this game. I'm waiting for it to drop on Switch 2 because I really want to play this on my Switch 2. Dropping it, Shadow Drop, 1.0 launch, having it there, boom. That would be an awesome indie announcement for the Switch 2. And I think we can anticipate this game being in the April Direct earlier this year and them talking, the Supergiant talking about the game. So I think we can anticipate this happening. Yeah, that's really all I got to talk about. But that's really all my predictions here. The big ones, I just want to re-highlight the big ones here. I said Prime 4 on December 5th. I think that's early December this year. Hyrule Warriors January next year. For Mario's 40th, I think we're going to get Mario Movie 2 news. I think we're going to get Mario Maker 3, and maybe a Switch 2 edition of 3D All-Stars with Galaxy 2. More Mario Kart World characters. Hades 2 1.0 Shadow Drop. Final Fantasy 14 we could throw on there. Animal Crossing tease of some sort, Fire Emblem, Rhythm Heaven. Yeah. And of course, Star Fox coming back. One day. I do think Star Fox will come back one day. It's a matter of in what form and when. But hopefully this Direct will show us when. Anyways, everybody, that's going to do it for this predictions video. So thank you so much for watching if you did. Let me know in the comments below, what are your predictions for the upcoming Nintendo Direct? You know, what games do you want to see? What do you think we'll see? What do you not think we'll see? Definitely let me know. Otherwise, I will catch you on the next video or live stream. And until then, get excited, keep on gaming.